We're here with Michael Ross from Encyclopaedia Britannica at the Content in Context conference. You chaired a panel about going mobile in publishing. What lessons have you learned over the last 12 months?
Yeah, one of the, I think, primary lessons that I think it's important to pick up on is that our marketplace, which is, generally speaking, the education market, is demanding mobile access. Teachers, educators, they understand that the kids are using mobile apps all the time. And if they want to tune in to what the kids are doing and get them where the kids have their attention, that the most important thing that you can do with your websites and any other digital product that you have is to figure out a way of playing in the mobile marketplace so that you're not left behind. Now, that will mean that you may not be able to get your business model 100% right, and you may have to experiment with the business model. But you must have a mobile presence, because if you don't have a mobile presence, you may not have a presence at all. And this isn't just from a kid point of view, it also happens to be something that district superintendents and buyers of educational products understand.
I thought it was interesting what the publisher from Merriam-Webster had to say. He said, basically what he said was, don't listen to the pessimists in your company. If you try to implement your future plans, do you get a lot of resistance internally?
No, right. Well, I think what John Morris from Merriam-Webster meant by the pessimists in their company would be the finance guys, because that's their job, is to be pessimistic or skeptical. Let's say, not pessimistic, but skeptical, and they want to understand what is the return on investment, what is the business model. And then you present them with the mobile business model, and they might be resistant. They will challenge you. Are you sure this makes sense? Are you sure you want to divert resources? And what John meant is, yes, the answer is we may have to lose a little money in order to get a little ground.
Now let's talk about Apple computers, well, Apple Inc.
Apple Inc. Mm-hmm.
They seem to have a crucial role in, at least in the mobile sphere right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that it's even bigger than that. I mean, what we learned just recently was that Apple is bigger than Microsoft and Intel combined. Apple has a huge mind share in the education space as well as the consumer space. And this is a worldwide phenomenon. I mean, Apple is a worldwide brand. I think they're the #1 brand now. When I travel, I see iPads and iPhones and iTouches everywhere. And if you're talking about the school environment, if you don't have an iPad, you don't have a tablet. I mean, there's no... So Apple is huge, and of course their store is huge, and it's very, very important to be a partner with Apple.
And is Apple your most important distribution channel at the moment?
In apps, yes. In fact, yes, they are. I mean, we do Android, and we believe, as a publisher, we're agnostic. We want to be on every platform. But when we start with an app, we start with iOS. And then we go to Android, and then BlackBerry, and then Nokia's platform. But first and foremost, it's the iPhone, because there are even many more iPhones than iPads. And then it's iPad, native for iPad, and then Android. So that's really the progression of the development.
And what do you expect for the next 12 to 18 months? Because in the smartphone market, Android has already overtaken iOS.
Right.
Do you think Android will become an equally strong distribution platform for the educational marketplace?
I think it'll definitely be, I think you're right, I think it'll definitely be huge. It might be bigger than Apple in the consumer space. I think again, I don't have tea leaves. I think it's going to be hard to displace Apple in the education space, because it's not just the iOS or the iPad, or the iPhone. It's Mac. It's Mac as well. And when my kids, when they want a laptop, it's a Mac Pro. It's not anything else. So because of the iPods and the Apple penetration in the whole mind share of these kids, education, and among teachers, education has embraced Apple pretty heavily. Again, we, as a publisher, we need to be agnostic. We need to be everywhere our consumers are, not favoring one or the other. Just like we did PC and Mac in the old days, and everything was compliant with both. I think we got to do both.
In your talk earlier today, you mentioned the silent revolution, and I think you were referring to volume sales.
Yes.
Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah. As we know, for the most part, apps are an individual decision. So somebody with a smartphone, an iPhone, or a tablet will download an application for themselves, whether it's free or whether they pay for it, and it was one by one by one by one by one. What Apple has done very successfully, and I think they're going to do it more successfully, is allowed schools to purchase apps by volume. So they can buy a classroom set of apps and then download it that way. So what we have seen as a publisher of apps is we've seen a spike in our sales because now they're not just one app at a time, but it's classroom volumes.
And what does that mean for you as a publisher?
Well, it means that we're going to be selling a lot more apps to the schools, not just to individual kids outside of school, and it's very encouraging for us. It means we're encouraged to develop more.
And can you make more money?
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, I mean, we don't lose money on any app, but you don't make a lot per app. When you make, when the volume increases, you can make more. So.
Do you expect the mobile channel to be the most important distribution channel for your business over the next 2 to 3 years or 5 years?
That is a great question. I would say it is going to be one of the most important channels. It's hard for me to believe that it's going to trump our online web sales. It's very, very difficult for me to understand that. Because right now, the app sales are in the thousands of dollars, and the websites are in the millions of dollars. It's hard for me, but having said that, I think the mobile is going to be your gateway to your online subscription apps. So, as a very, very important ramp to your other big portion of your business, it's going to be very important. It's impossible, I think, if you're a web publisher, to ignore mobile.
Do you already make money in the mobile field, or is it more of an investment at this point?
Right now, I would call it an investment. We're not losing a lot, but I think that in the aggregate, it's still at an investment stage.
And are you favoring, the sale of a single app or a subscription model, or how do you?
Well, with the apps, it's Apple's way. You have no choice but to go through Apple. So Apple, it's not supported by subscription right now, but the volume sale program that they have is very, very encouraging. So instead of having one app at a time, now you have the volume. It's not quite like a subscription because you own it. You own the app, you own the product. It's not updated, every day like the website is. And so it's not an annual subscription, but it's very, very encouraging.
Last question. The key advice that you gave to your colleagues today was build a relationship with Apple. My question to you is, how does one do that?
Yeah, I think the best way to get Apple's attention is to understand what their expectations are. I think that Apple is making a lot of money. They have no problem making money. I think they want to do good. I think they've always been the education computing company. They want to continue to be that. They're looking for partners who have educational apps, not just games. They obviously have nothing against games, but they would like. So my suggestion would be to make some really good educational apps and get a hold of somebody at Apple who can be an advocate for you and help them get behind it. That's really all we did. Now, we had the advantage of a brand. I think that would also, if you're just a developer and you don't have a brand, I think it'd be important first and foremost to partner with a brand. There are plenty of wonderful brands around an education space. If you work with that brand, Apple will pay attention.
Thank you so much.
All right, Thomas, thank you.